Yo, you listening to More About Something Else. Once again, thank you for listening. Please, if you haven't already, like the show, review it, share it. You can do that on Google Play, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, SoundCloud, you name it. But on today's episode, we talk about how poorly the school system is ran, election night, and just normalizing mass shootings. But here's a clip from the show. You don't get paid for the time. You get paid for the value. Like, how much do you value yourself where you're going to put yourself in this light where you're going to propel yourself and you're going to be of substance to everybody that's around you? And now that you heard that, let's begin.
First off, I'm going to have to ask you to go and rate this show, maybe even leave a comment. And you could do that on iTunes or SoundCloud, and for Android users, you can now listen via Google Play. Now, this podcast may contain explicit content, just saying, so open your mind, relax, and listen to this dope-ass podcast.
Food for thought, coming fresh, I'm the chef. I got greens for your brain, have a taste, it's the best. Food for thought from the flesh, tag along on the quest to find more about something else. Hey, food for thought, coming fresh, I'm the chef. I got greens for your brain, have a taste, it's the best. Food for thought from the flesh, tag along on the quest.
If people don't understand that, well, they don't understand nothing.
Truth spilling, leaving victims to my honest ways. I come in peace like an alien from outer space. Internet pirates riding waves on your webpage. Downloading shit, click the link, press play. I don't mean to pray, but I pray every week for myself, for my fam, cause we all gotta eat. Protein, no more sweets. Till I'm caked up on the beach in Belize. Food for thought, coming fresh, I'm the chef. I got greens for your brain, have a taste, it's the best. Food for thought from the flesh, tag along on the quest to find more about something else. Wait, food for thought coming fresh, I'm the chef. I got greens for your brain, have a taste, it's the best. Food for thought from the flesh, tag along on the quest to find more about something else. Wait.
Yo, you listen to More About Something Else. My name is Joshua, and I just want to say thank you to any and everybody that's been rocking with this show. Truly, I appreciate it. But if you like the show, please like it, review it, share it. I've been talking about that if you really like it and whatever. And, I always tell people to tell their friends and whatever. But the question is now is like, are you doing your duty? Did you like it? Did you share it? Did you review it? Like, this is not just for new listeners. This is just for the people that rock with this show day in and day out. So if you haven't done so, please do so. But we're here in this lovely month of November, and the question arises now, and this is where I want to start off with. November is done, right? Like, literally, I just realized that this is the week of Thanksgiving, and I know it's not supposed to be like that, but it is. It's Thanksgiving, and literally we're going to be in December in the next week or so, and it's just like, what's going on, right? My whole thing about this right now is that I hate to be the person to say, where did the time go? But it's like, literally, day in, day out, what are you doing to reach your goal or whatever? It's just things like that. It's just like, are you wasting time or are you actually utilizing the time that's been given to you? Like we say, time moves really fast, that tomorrow is never promised, and all these type of things, and they all sound really good, because we all want to be better and put in a better position. But it's like you hear one thing and it goes in one ear and it comes out the other, literally. Like, there's no type of retention whatsoever. And this is my thing, right? Because it's just like time after time after time. I'm already on social media and I'm already seeing people talking about 2019 is going to be a good year. Don't get me wrong. Like, I really want 2019 to be a really good year for everybody. But it's like, we still got time, right now. Like, it seems like people just end up giving up towards the end of the year. And, honestly, I don't blame nobody because it's just like, yeah, you get a fresh start, but it's just like, look, the fact that it's going to be January is just to putting a milestone on things, putting the time on things. And that's the thing. It's just like, once you realize that everything revolves around time and not the actual milestone, and if you actually learn how to appreciate the process, then things will run a lot smoother for you. And this is just not like a self-development thing. We're talking about whole 9 yards. Like I always tell people to write it down, move in progressions. That's how you move, and that's how you make things better for you. Literally. So think about those type of things, right? Time is not going anywhere. You have to just realize how important it is, right? So think about those type of things as you're going on. We're going into Thanksgiving, and this one thing that I have to deal with, especially in my job, is people not wanting to work out. And people don't want to work out because they're just on this defeat, like, yeah, I want to work out, but I don't want to actually work out because I just don't feel motivated. Or not even that you don't feel motivated, but it's just like, I might as well start or give myself a fresh start, But that's the thing, it's just like, I feel like the fact that you woke up is your fresh start, Like, I only think that's fair to yourself to do things and to seize the day, because that's where I'm at right now. Because sometimes I feel like giving up, and sometimes I'm just like, well, you can capitalize on this moment right now and seize the day, or you can just give up. Like, there's been plenty of weeks where I can say like, oh my God, man, F this. I'm going to just relax and like coast throughout the week. Like, this week is already over. And that's the thing. It's just like, don't ever defeat yourself before actually going through things. Like, I can tell you for sure that I really do struggle to get out of bed. I really do. I tell you, I try to wake up 4 o'clock in the morning every day. It's hard. And, just trying to get the right amount of sleep is hard. Like, it's just those type of things that I have to run into, and that's an obstacle. But literally, like, if you can do it, I commend you, But anyways, things that bother me, let's go into that. And, it's not that your voice is not heard, right? And I'm just talking about election night, because it was very, I don't want to say it was emotional, but it was something that was really important. And this is just to the point where it's like, yo, we need to fix what everybody messed up because of how they were feeling in some form of fashion during 2016 presidential election, right? In certain areas, guys, you fucked up, okay? I think it's safe to say that you fucked up. And one thing that I noticed, and it's not to say that I was being pessimistic about certain things, especially in the Texas Senate race about Ted Cruz and Beto O'Rourke. Man, social media is going to play its part, but let that not fool you from what is really going on the real world. You see what I'm saying? Like, Beto O'Rourke, he was really good at speaking. Like, he's like, there's Obama, and then there's Vanilla Obama, and Beto was Vanilla Obama, right? Like, it's just things like that you had to understand. He's a very good speaker, really knows how to get deep into your emotions and use your emotions to get you riled up, which is good because we're emotion based. We move off of emotion. A lot of people tend to think that they don't move off of emotion, but we really do. And that's good. He's a good speaker, and he might end up running for president, to be honest, because the way he was going forth and how he was speaking and how he was engaging with people, man. But that's the thing. It's just like, don't let social media fool you. it's not that your vote doesn't count. It's the fact that not that many people try to vote for who they believed instead of voting for who they felt was comfortable enough in their headspace, if that makes sense. If that makes sense. So Beto O'Rourke lost. Andrew Gillum in Florida. Stacey Abrams in Georgia. That of its own was something else, you know. It was very weird. The voters that went out, and you know, it was a big turnout, but there was an issue because, you know, they weren't sending power cords for the voting machines. You know, certain voting machines were switching votes. They really tried to suppress the votes of those who was going to vote. And let's just be very clear and honest about it, is that those votes that were going to matter, it was minorities, right? Like, these are things that are going to affect. And obviously, we know that the black vote is very, very crucial, right? And it's not, once again, that your vote doesn't count. It's just how it's treated. You know, they really did try not to count all the absentee votes. They really did try not to count all the mail-in votes, just things like that. Like, they were really trying their hardest. And you can see how corrupt the government is at this point. And it's just like, is this our country, you know? Like, this country that just blackballed Colin Kaepernick because he took a knee during the national anthem, you know? Like, we sit on so much pride, but it's like, yo, we have to cheat to win an election, or just saying that this is politics. Well, politics is dirty. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's just those type of things. And, you know, it really bothers me because it's just like, the people that want to change things always end up being put in a bad light or not winning in certain aspects. And that, you know, it's not fair, to be honest. It really isn't. But here we are. And this is a thing for people to understand and realize, is that, yo, at the end of the day, I did what I had to do. What's next? You know, like, we're here trying to change the community and change the way people perceive certain things, and just moving forward to making a better country and a better community for ourselves. But yet the system still fails us, right? And I don't know. It's just those type of things that you just have to think about. Like, yes, you voted, and, you know, of course it didn't turn out the way you wanted it to turn out, but don't ever think that it's not going to turn out the way you want it to be. Or don't ever think that it doesn't count, because it does count. It just wasn't enough. And that's just how you have to look at things. And it's not the end. It's just that, you know, with these different elected officials or nominees, it brings a lot of attention to the standpoint of like, yo, this is not going to happen again, you know? So here we are. And Republicans still hold Senate, and the Democrats own House, right? And, you know, this is my thing about politics too. And, you know, I hate to be going on this like little rant about it, but it's just like, the Democrats are so strung up on trying to impeach Trump that they're not worrying about what's actually going on. You know, 2020 is about to hit, and we don't know who is running for president. We know who's running for the Republicans is Donald Trump, you know? So, like, it's just these things, like, we're trying to get Trump out of office so bad, but it's just like, man, what else could we be focusing on? And this is my thing, too. It's just like, I know we've seen all these ads and everything, and how they're trying to talk about separation of family and whatever, the border, like, just these little things to try and tap into your emotions, to try and, like, instill fear. And that's all politics is to instill fear, especially now in America. And, you know, it just sucks because this is where we are. Like, it's just petty things. But anyways, despite the fact that the election turned out to be what it was, don't let that hinder you when you want to go and vote. But that's that. Thanksgiving is around the corner, and there's one thing that I really have a beef with, like retail and stuff. I just do. I think it's so fucked up how, and I used to work in retail, and I really think it's fucked up how like they don't respect Thanksgiving anymore. Like Thanksgiving used to be so sacred to the point where it's just like we're closing down business for the day, or we're closing down business early the next day so that everybody can be with their family. And this has been going on for years. Ever since 2008, when Black Friday first started, it's like it's all been about money, money, money with these businesses, to the point where they're open on Thanksgiving Day. So it's just like you don't get that quality time with your family. Even if you're not going to be with your family, it's just like it's not sacred no more, And this is my thing about Black Friday, is just that these things are really not worth it. Like, we hold so much value to material things that we're to the point where we're camping out to get the best deals on some $200 TVs that are not even going to matter because they're going to break and you didn't buy warranty and whatever. Like, it's just things like that. They really have no value, but we hold it to the highest extent because we got a deal, right? Everybody loves a deal, but it's just like, to what extent, right? And this is my thing. It's just like, what are we teaching our children? I really don't care for Thanksgiving. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think Thanksgiving food is trash. All right. All that news about the salmonella on the turkeys and whatnot. You see what happens, right? So it's just things like that. Like, Thanksgiving is for family matters. Family comes together and all that good stuff, doing different potlucks. You're just sharing that time. Of course, if we go back in history, they say something else, but still, what we have adopted into our everyday lives is that Thanksgiving is for our family, and we're not really utilizing that. And it's not fair to the workers and to the employees that they have to sit there and go to work on Thanksgiving. And maybe I'm just talking from personal experience because I have dealt with that. Not to the point where I had to work on Thanksgiving Day. Well, actually, I did work on Thanksgiving Day. And it just sucks. It really does. Because if you really do the math, because they try to get you with the, it's holiday pay, blah, blah, blah. You get taxed on holiday pay. So what you're really gaining back is like the tax that they take away on your everyday paycheck. But hey, that's just to say you deserve better. But maybe that's just me thinking too much about it. The last thing that bothers me, and this, it's really been grinding my gears for a while now, because it's just like, to what degree do we feel like we deserve certain things or certain people in our lives, right? So every time I get on social media, all I see is all women want is money, and you have to act like you don't have anything and see who stays around. I don't know, like, it's to an extent where it's just like, if that's what you're worrying about, like the money aspect, then I don't know. I feel some type of way about it, like, money is money, right? And, I feel like from the start, if you're worried about somebody only wanting you for your money, then I feel like you would know that. And I also feel like you attract what you like, or you attract the weaker parts of you, it's almost to the point where it's just like, there's a level of insecurity there. Granted, you don't owe anybody anything, right? You don't have to support anybody because you're financially not ready to support anybody. And that's that. And I feel like you need to be vocal about it from the start. Like, I remember I was talking to this girl and I just told her straight up, I was just like, look, I'm going to be a gentleman, but I'm not going to sit here and buy you things or whatever, not in the beginning stage or not even close to wherever we're at right now. And that's just from the standpoint of just like, look, it's not about money at this point. It's about getting to know who you are. And I feel like that's what people need to be on. Like, that's the type of frequency that they need to be on. Yeah, there are people that just want you for your money, but it's just like, if you're going to sit here and try to flatter people with the money that you have, and, you know, don't get me wrong, there's people that just love you for the money because they feel like money equates to security. Yeah, but, you know, when the money stops rolling, then you got to really figure out who is really there for you. And I feel like there's no point in trying to entertain that type of behavior, you know. Therefore, it's just like, why are you wasting your time? Like, there's always those type of people that click together. And literally, it's about love language at the end of the day, because there's people that love gifts. And, you know, one thing that I learned about just loving somebody is that it's not the feeling of being loved, it's the actual action of loving somebody. But that's to say, it's not all about the money. Don't assume that everybody wants you for your money, because if we really, really think about it, a lot of people on social media don't have money because they're posting on social media for free. If only it helped out for everybody. But anyways, those are the things that bother me.
Say, man, if you really like the show, and I assume that you like it because you're still listening to the show, but if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. And if you are subscribed, please, 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 you know, write us a review. You know, it helps people find the show, for one, and it also gives people an idea of what's going on in the show without actually listening. So, you know, it attracts other people. And I'm just asking, you know, if you don't want to, it's cool. If you do, God bless you. Now back to the show.
So there was a shooting about a week and a half ago. I was actually in the barbershop when it all went down, and, you know, things were just really, really weird, you know, like, it's to the point when it comes down to a mass shooting, it's just like, pray for so-and-so, hashtag, and that's it. Whatever is hot after that. And, you know, it's really not the way we should be moving, but it's just like, you see how it has adapted to the norm, right? And, you know, it's one thing to try and say that the world is fucked up, but it's another thing to say that this is normal and this is okay. Like, it's never to be okay, you know? And that's the thing too. Like, people try to come up with this logic that is okay for, or not even okay, to justify why we need to, you know, have guns all around America, open carry, just those type of things. And I feel like it's just these certain situations that it's okay for people to say, okay, we need to like get guns and we need to defend ourselves and whatever. And, you know, I always like had this question, right? Because it's very weird how it has been to the norm that a mass shooting happens so frequently. And I think we're at like 150 something mass shootings this year. Imagine, in the beginning of the year, we had at least 18. And it's just like, this shit is okay. As long as it doesn't happen to you. And this is why, you know, I say my prayer before I leave the house, because, you know, you never know when you're going to come back. You never know what's going to happen. You know, there's been a couple fights at the gym where it's just like, it could have went left. But it's very odd when you think about these things and you think about normalizing society. What's different between now and back then? And it's not to say that they didn't have mass shootings back then, but it's just like, it seems like things have expedited to a level where it's just like, we're trying to ration with what is going on, and we're trying to justify it by fighting fire with fire. And I don't know if that's ever the case. I don't think that should ever be the case. You see, like, especially in schools, they're trying to address the issue. I seen something on Twitter about how they have a dog that's going to attack the shooter if a gunshot goes off. And it's just like, that's cute. That's cute. It really is. But to a certain degree, imagine if the dog gets shot. Just imagine what people are going to do. They're going to change gun laws and whatever. And that's just my thing, because it's just like, there's a certain level of disregard when it comes to humans, because it seems like we're so disposable. And it's sad, because it's just like, you see this happening in third world countries and second world countries, but not in America, right? Imagine this, the safest city. I don't even think it's the safest. I think it was the second safest city in the United States. Crazy. And 15 people died, you know? And we're just like, RIP. And that's just sad, because it's just like, this is not how life is supposed to be. But then again, it's just like, how is life supposed to be, right? Like, we're not addressing the situation. One side is saying, oh, we need to arm ourselves with guns. The other side is saying it's mental health. I don't know. I really don't know. It's really sad too, because it's just like, these people aren't going to get their lives back. You know, when I seen the mass shooting in Las Vegas, I was just, oh my God, I was just so scared, you know, because it's just like, yo, I wanted to venture out and start going to concerts and whatever, but it's just like, it seems like, what is it? What is the point of doing that if something's going to happen, you know? And it's not to like scare anybody or whatever, but it's just like, I just want to live my life in peace. I mean, it doesn't get more simpler than that. But we're here in 2018, and this is the crisis that we're going through. And I do think we need to like hold everybody accountable, especially parents, because it's just like, little Johnny shouldn't be able to go into your gun closet, you know? He just shouldn't. Like, I blame parents when it comes to that. I also blame parents when they're not in the children's lives. Like, this is my thing. Like, you send your kids to school to learn. And, you know, don't worry, I'm going to segue into education really quick. But it's just like, you send your kids to learn how to adapt, how to socialize with other people. And you would think that the parents would be the ones to pick up that little Johnny is acting a little funny, you know? Little Johnny is not acting right, or little Johnny is hiding things from me. Like, I really appreciate the strict parents that are all deep into their children's lives and how they limit things. Granted, like, there's a way to do it, but it's just like, yo, I need to know what you're doing. I need to know what's on your mind. I need to know your friends. I need to know everything. Like, my mom, she always used to ask me before I go out, who you gonna be with? You know, she still does ask me too, to this day. She asks me, who you gonna be with? What's their number? Do you know their parents? Who are they? What do they do? You know, things like that. Because it's just like, there's a level of trying to understand your child for who they are and understand who they're going to be around, because influence is influence. Little Robert and little Johnny go into the store and little Robert decide to steal. But that's not how little Johnny operates. But little Johnny decides to steal too because his peers are stealing. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, you should know that. And this is the crazy thing, because it's just like, parents have this intuition, especially mothers. They have this intuition where it's just like, yo, this is not a good friend for you. And it's not hate. It's not dry hating, but it's just like 99% of the time they're right. You know, sometimes it's just like, you know, mom, dad, you don't understand them. This is just the way we are, you know? But, you know, that's just to say, we need to stop trying to normalize this, you know? Like, they're trying to come up with all different tactics to keep shooters outside of the school instead of addressing the issue, right? And that's just currently where we are in the United States, that we're trying to mask the issue. And that's just the same thing, especially in pharmaceuticals. You know, education system. But, that's just to say, hey, things can get better. But what steps are we actually going to use to make things better? Anyways, I've been thinking about this long and hard, and everybody talks about how the educational system is so corrupt and how they really don't do anything for our kids. And as as somebody that has been through the educational system here in America, it sucks. It really does suck. But to my knowledge, it's just like, what was I really expecting to come out of me going through the actual public educational system? And it started to make me wonder about just what's going on. And as far as like, should we do this? Should we do that? How is my future going to play out of all these events? And there's one thing, because I've been thinking long and hard about putting my kids through public education, and it's just like, well, what does it have to offer? Everybody talks about, high school didn't teach me anything. I just went to go, whatever. That's true. I mean, you go because there's that policy, no child left behind. Trust me, I know, because I used to skip school and I had to pay dearly for that. Thank you, George Bush. But that's the thing, right? It's just like, what do you want out of this? We already know that they don't prepare kids for the next level, right? Or just adulthood. This is my thing, especially when you decide to go to college. 6 months ago, or not even 6 months, 3 months ago, you had to ask and raise your hand. You had to ask for permission to go to the bathroom. And you're shifted into adulthood, and it's just like you can leave to go to the bathroom, or you don't have to show up to class. Hell, you're paying for it. So it's just like you can really do whatever you want to do, right? So what is high school, or what is the educational system supposed to do for you? Like, one thing that I realized about life is that, if you're not set up right, then you're definitely going to be fucked up. And not fucked up for like a whole whatever, but just like here and there, And that's just it, because they don't teach you any trade. They don't teach you how to file your taxes. They don't teach you how to save your money. It's just about sports, And that's my thing too, because upon deciding if I wanted to put my kids through public education, it's just like, I kind of thought to decide like, I feel more better if I decide to homeschool my children. And, as I'm talking to different people about it, they're just like, well, what about socializing? And I'm just like, look, kids right now, they're really having an issue with socializing. So I don't think that's going to benefit anything, Like, I really feel like if you homeschool your children, A, they're going to be smarter because they can learn at their own pace. B, you don't have to worry about anything that goes on in the schoolhouse. And that's the thing, because, it's definitely expensive to try and educate your child, and whether it's have a tutor or, just things like that. Just trying to attend to your child's every needs, whether there's a learning struggle or whatever. And trust me, it's not that I know it's hard. I just feel for it. Like, it is hard. But it's just like, is it really the government's duty to educate your child and how to live? And I don't know. I thought about that for a long time, and I'm kind of on the border of like, it's not the government's issue, it's your issue at the end of the day. At the end of the day, you choose to put your child in that system. And obviously the system has shown that we're not really here for your kids. We just want your money, We're just doing this, or we're trying to set your child up for failure. Not failure, but like to think systematic and to be in this system where you have to work. and take commands from people. And eventually, just eventually, if you do all the right things, you can retire at 65, you know? And that's the thing too, because, you know, we're all taught to retire at some age, but it's just like retirement wasn't for the fact of living your life to retire. The whole point of retiring was to free up jobs for people that are coming up in the world. And you see what I'm saying? Like, it's just those things. Like, they teach you about living your life and then you retire. But it's just like, I don't know. I feel like there's more to life than that. But that's all to say, look, it's very important to actually like figure out what you want for your child, whether you do have a child or whether you don't have a child, whether you're in school right now or whether you're not in school right now. What's best for you? Because I know a lot of people that are going to school right now and definitely knowing that this piece of paper, is it going to justify your existence, or is it going to justify how you feel towards yourself? Or is it going to please the people that feed you? Or is it going to put you in this place where society holds you up and puts you on a pedestal? Like, I just want you to understand these things, you know, because the educational system right now is not for you. It's for something else. And this is not to say that, you know, don't listen to me, or educational system is messed up, like, don't do it. Or even like for those who have gone the route of going to school, this is not to bash you. This is just like, when you think about it for your kids, and this is my thing, like, you want your kids to be successful and you want to set them up well, I would definitely think long and hard about how I want to position them, because there's a difference between the wealthy and regular Joe folks like me and you. The wealthy sets their kids up for success. And it's not to say that we set our kids up for failure, but it's just like the wealthy definitely have an advantage, right? Whether it's helping your kids learn a trade, which is like the most important thing. Like, people don't understand how important trade is, but it's just like we let society hold value to what it is that you do on this earth. Like, there's nothing wrong with being a plumber. I don't want to be a plumber, I'm not gonna lie to you, but there's nothing wrong with it, you know? Like, plumbing goes a very long way, and they actually make a lot more money than people think that they do make. But it's just things like that, you know? Whether it's a trust fund, not even a trust fund, but like, you know, setting your kids up with credit, or setting them up with putting money on the side, tell them to go open up a business, you know, just things like that. So in your own life and in your own viewpoint of how you want to live your life, and this is not just for the kids, this is just for you in general. If you're not trying to set yourself up for success right now, or if you're not planting these seeds, you know, and trying to manifest them, then what are you doing? But I don't know, you know, it's just something to think about as far as like, what am I doing with my life? Because at the end of the day, it's just like, you don't want to waste time. Like, a lot of us have wasted time, and it's just like, at what point do you get tired of that? But I don't know. It's definitely something to think about, ponder on it, and shit, I don't know. I just want everybody to live their best life. I hate saying that, but I really do. But anyways, so we've all come to the agreement that life is hard, right? And we know life is hard, but it comes to a certain point in our lives where we just want better for ourselves, right? And now the question arises, is just like, okay, how do I make myself better? And, you know, things aren't really turning out the way I want it to turn out. But those are like very simple things to solve. And you just have to think of these as equations, right? Like, a lot of people say, well, what was going to school for? And why am I learning about 1 + x = 2? Because literally it's setting you up to understand the concept. Like, think about life as variables, okay? And this is just like something to really, really think about, especially when it comes to like getting a job or starting something, whether you're going through a financial crisis or whatever. I always said if it happened once, it's an accident, but if it happens more than once, it's not a coincidence anymore. This is a bad habit, right? Especially if you're going into negatives all the time. Like, these things, like, it's not good, right? When you want to understand who you are and when you want to propel yourself to the next level, what is one thing that you do? And I hear for a lot of people, it's just like they decide to go back to school. Why? Because they feel like they would either help them get a job or B, add value to who they are. And this is just not like, it doesn't have to be in a job standpoint. This can be anywhere. Learn to be the asset and not a liability. Like, a lot of people don't understand that there are liabilities, that things can go definitely wrong in just everything that goes on. So really, you just have to think about it from the standpoint, like, you don't get paid for the time. You get paid for the value. Like, how much do you value yourself where you're going to put yourself in this light where you're going to propel yourself and you're going to be of substance to everybody that's around you? Because literally, whatever happens, wherever you decide to work in life or wherever you decide to end up in life, you got to be a part of the system. And, it's just like a challenge to everybody in the standpoint of like, are you being the best version of you? A. And what more are you adding to yourself to put yourself to the next level? I think that's the easiest for people to grasp, right? What are you doing for yourself? So don't ever take it the wrong way when somebody is always trying to challenge you to be better. Because I remember, I used to talk to this girl and, I just said, look, like, honestly, I understand you're going to school, but it's just like, I want you to be more than this piece of paper. And she definitely took it the wrong way. And she actually stopped talking to me. Oh no. But yeah, she stopped talking to me. And don't ever shy away from the competition. I mean, not competition, but from the challenge itself. Because if we're not challenging ourselves every day, then what is there to exist for? Once again, I'm not trying to knock nobody, but it's literally the question that you have to ask yourself. At what point do you want more for yourself? Because it's just like, going to work is so boring. Doing the same routine is so boring. And I just told myself, man, I can't do it. I cannot do it. So how am I going to figure that out? Plug in the equation, Take small steps. Respect the process. Simple things like that. But anyways, I always like to end the show with words of wisdom. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. I don't know. I just heard that, and it stuck to me, especially in this path of trying to be a better person. But anyways, once again, please do your job. If you like the show, like it, review it, share it. You can do one or you can do all three. Please go to the website, moreaboutsomethingelse.com, check it out. But my name is Joshua and I'm out.